Hey everyone, in this video let's talk about Vite and why it is so powerful. So we are going to start off with what is Vite. Vite is a front-end tool that focuses on speed and performance of your application. Vite has several advantages such as it's a lightning fast build tool that lives up to its name because it's insanely quick and has a good development experience. Talking about its advantages, we cannot leave this one main advantage, which is no bundling bottleneck, which means that Vite doesn't bundle our entire application during development. Instead, it leverages ES module imports, serving dependencies on demand. This means our development server can start up in a flash, and changes we make to our application reflect almost instantly in the browser. Vite also has a built-in development server which supports HRM, which is Hot Module Replacement. Now you might ask me, what does that do? Okay, so answer to that is it is going to ensure that when we make changes to our code, the browser instantly updates, preserving the app's state. It is like you have a live preview of your changes without hitting the refresh button over and over again. Vite also supports various framework integration. You can use Vue, Preact, Svelte, React or various other frameworks with it. Vite also has a support for plugins. Suppose you want to add TypeScript support or that you want to integrate CSS preprocessor like Sass or Less, or you want to optimize the images. For each of this, Vite has a plugin. To use the plugins, you just have to add them into your dev dependencies of your project. Now that we know the advantages of Vite, what we are going to do is we are going to build a simple Vite plus React.js project, and then we are going to deploy it to Netlify by using Netlify CLI. Yes, you heard me correct. We will use Netlify CLI. So for that, let's open up the terminal and run the command node-v and pnpm-v to check that you have Node.js and pnpm installed on your computer. If you don't use pnpm, that's okay. Run the command npm-v and check that you have npm installed on your computer. Now that we have confirmed we have Node and pnpm on our local machine, we are going to create Vite plus React app. And instead of using npx create-react app, which we basically do to create a React app, we will use pnpm create Vite. And let's now hit enter. And now that you see, it is asking us for a project name. So we will go with Vite-react-project. Okay, and then let's hit enter, and you see how fast it is. And then we are going to select our framework, which is going to be React, and then we are going to use JavaScript. Then we are going to navigate into this project directory by running the command cd followed by your project name, and then let's run another command which is going to be pnpm install. If you are using npm, it is going to be npm install, but here I am using pnpm, so it is pnpm install, and it is done. Amazing, isn't it? Now let's open this project into the VS Code by running the command code followed by CRA. And there we have our application in the VS Code, and it has also installed all of the dependencies that it needs. So let's open the package.json file, and in the package.json file you will see three scripts which are important, which is one dev, second one build, and third one preview. Dev script is used to start the development server, because of which we will able to see changes in our React application in real time without the need to reload the page over and over again. And the build script is used for creating a production ready build. When we run this command, Vite is going to generate, optimize and minified files which will be suitable for our deployment. This is a script which we will use before deploying the application to a hosting service like Netlify. And last, which is preview. It is used to locally preview the production build before deploying it. We do this to test and ensure that everything looks and works as expected in a production-like environment. It is used for catching issues that might arise during our build process. We will look at these commands one by one. So for that, what we are going to do is open the terminal into the VS Code, and here let's run the command pnpm run dev. If you are using npm run dev, okay, and then let's hit enter. And our website is available on the localhost 5173. So let's control plus click on this. So now you can see our application running on localhost 5173. And now let's try to make changes in our application. So let's open this source directory. Inside this, open this app.jsx file. And inside this, here Vite plus React, write Vite plus React project. And let's save this. And you will see it's in an instant. It's really fast, isn't it? And by default, Vite has also provided the counter. So let's try increasing this counter and you will see that it gets increased. And now let's change this project from capitalized to project. Just like this. And let's save this. And you will see that it does make change to the project. And the counter remained to 5. It does not increase, decrease, or it does not change. So that is what when we say that Vite prevents the application state. Now let's look at how we can use environment variables in Vite. For that, what we are going to do is we are going to first create a .env file into our root directory. And here we have two environment variables. One is for Vite underscore API underscore URL and the second one is db underscore password. Alright. And if you see, we have one environment variable which uses Vite as a prefix and our database password does not use Vite as a prefix. And with this example, I'm going to tell you why do we use Vite as a prefix for our environmental variables. So for that, let's save this file now. And now if we want to access these variables, what we can do is we can use import.meta.env object which is provided by Vite. So let's open our app.jsx file and let's create two variables over here which is going to be const API URL just like this, and we will bring in the import.meta.env object with our Vite underscore API underscore URL. This is going to be the environment variable which you have provided in the .env file. And then we will have another variable which is db password and we are using import.meta.env object to bring in this password. And then down here inside this paragraph tag, let's remove this and let's call our API URL. And let's say API URL is, and we will bring in the curly braces over here and bring in our API URL. And now let's save the file and you will see that it provided us the API URL over here without even need to refresh this application. Amazing, isn't it? Now let's bring in our database password. Okay. And let's say db password is inside the curly braces, we will say db password. Now let's save this file and now look carefully over here. When we save this file, we get this db pass, but we do not get this db password which is set into our environment variable over here. So you will look over here that we do not get the database password. So let's first provide the break tag over here so that you can see what is happening. And here we don't have db password over here. Why is it? Because in environment variable, we did not use Vite as a prefix for our database password. Using Vite as a prefix in our environment variable is essential because we want Vite to recognize them. And because we did not have Vite as a prefix for a database password, it did not recognize it and it did not give us our database password in our application over here. Alright, so what we are going to do is we are going to provide Vite as a prefix for our database password just like this. Okay, and now let's save this file also. And in the app.jsx file here, let's provide Vite as a prefix for our database password. And now let's save this file. And there you have our database password over here. We can also create environment specific configuration files. Like this, we can say .env.local, which will work for the local environment. Or you can create one more file which is going to be env.production, which will be used just for production. And using this file, what will we do? We will give this file the priority than this .env file. And inside this file, you can have specific environments variable for different environments. And the files which are named as .env.mode or anything like production.local, we will give them the priority than this .env file. Now let's try to host this site to Netlify. For that, let's first stop this server, and over here let's run the command pnpm run build. And when we hit enter, you will see that it created the dist folder over here, which includes all our assets and index.html file, which is the entry point to our application. Okay, then let's run the command pnpm run preview, and there we have the site running on localhost 4173 now. And this is how our site is going to look after the deployment. This site, you will say that it is similar to the one which was hosted on 5173, right? But no. If there were any errors after this pnpm run build command, it would have shown over here. But as we don't have any error, we are going to deploy it to Netlify. Now to deploy this site on the Netlify, we first need to install the Netlify CLI. So for that, we are going to run the command npm install -g, which is for globally, and then we will have netlify -cli. I already have netlify CLI installed, so you want to install it globally, you will have to run this command in your terminal or in the VS Code terminal, whichever you prefer. And then it is going to ask you to authorize the Netlify account. You are not going to run this sudo, you are going to run npm install -g netlify -cli. And it has asked me the password, so I am providing it, but you don't have to do this because you won't run sudo. So now it is installing the Netlify CLI. Next, we are going to run the command ntl, which is netlify init. You won't run sudo, okay? You will just run ntl init, and let's hit enter. And then it is asking us, do you want to create Netlify site without a Git repository? If you want it, then you will select yes. So for this project, I am going with it, but you should not do that. You are going to do with no, I will connect this directory with GitHub first. So do that if you want to, but for this, let's say yes, create and deploy site manually. So that is my team name on my Netlify. So yes. Let's hit enter. And what site name do you want? I'm going to leave it blank because whichever site name I choose, Netlify is not going to provide me, like literally. So let's leave it like this and let Netlify provide us the name. And there we have the site created. And here we have the site name. Now to deploy the site, we just have one last command to run, which is netlify, or you can run ntl deploy, enter. So okay, it says permission denied. So I have to run sudo every time. I don't know why I have to figure this out, but whatever. So let's run the command again. You won't use sudo. You are just going to use netlify deploy. Don't run sudo, or otherwise it is going to give you an error. Okay. So now let's hit enter. I should just increase this so that you can see. And then it is asking us which is the published directory. Our published directory is this one, dist, which Netlify created. So let's write dist over here. Then let's hit enter. And then it has deployed. Look how fast it was, isn't it? So they have provided us the draft URL, but we are just going to run this command. So before running this command, I'm going to use sudo. Otherwise it is going to give me another error. Okay. And then let's hit enter. And then it has again asked us the published directory, which is the dist. Let's provide it. And there we have our website finally running on this URL. So let's go to this website. Let's hit Control plus click on it, or if you are on Mac, use Command plus click. And then let's open this over here. And there we have our website running on this URL. Amazing, isn't it? So before deploying any of your site, make sure that you have its repository up and running on GitHub. But this video was just the basics of Vite and why we use it, okay? And if you don't want to use Netlify because you use GitLab pages or GitHub or you use Vercel, you can come to this Vite documentation over here and then you can follow these instructions to deploy your website. This is really very simple to follow up. So do it, okay? And if you want to use plugins, like you want to add the TypeScript plugin or you want to add preprocessor such as SAS or less, for that you can check this documentation, okay? And that is all you need to know about Vite. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, then don't forget to use Vite in your next project, okay? So that is for this video and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, bye bye and take care.